Alright, welcome to Devlog number 1 for Tank Game. Working title, obviously. But before I get into where the game's at, I do want to go over a little bit of my history with game development. I played around with the free version of GameMaker back in middle school, about 13-15 years ago. The one game I do remember making with that was sort of an adventure, traversal, avoider kind of game. You would have played as a butterfly, move up, down, left, right, try not to hit obstacles. I think there was some light story, and I could swear that there was a boss battle in there, but nothing too crazy. After that, I made some Flash games, early high school, mostly platformers, a Snake clone, some turn-based battlers, once again nothing too crazy, nothing too special. There was a lot of borrowed code. I kinda fell off making games as my passions changed to music, mostly metal, but I always had an appreciation for game design. God knows I was playing a lot of them. I did do some Visual Basic programming in college, more so functional programs than any gaming. I do remember making a point-of-sale system that I was pretty happy with. But it was when Yancey Croshaw released his series Dev Diary that I started getting back into making games. Bye, Gersel. He mentioned using GameMaker 2 as his main development tool, and I was kind of surprised that this program from my youth was still going strong, so I decided to give it a go. While I only played around with the drag and drop tools in GameMaker back in the day, I found GameMaker language fairly easy to work with. I started out with the arena shooter tutorial that Sean Spalding put out, same one I'm sure a lot of us used if you got started with GameMaker any time in the past couple of years. So after I finished up the tutorial, I just kinda kept working on it. Pulled in some Creative Commons graphics, added enemies, guns, levels, features, what have you. And this is what turned into the start of what I'm currently calling Tank Game. Then the project sat on the back burner for a while. I either worked on other little games or lost focus on making games in general. Lots of side projects. That being said, my hard drive gave out a little while after that. Being an IT guy that lost a hard drive without a backup is not a great look. I back up my client's work to the high heavens, but I guess I do not treat my personal files with the same respect. So that was about 6 months ago. A few days ago, I decided it was time to start rebuilding that original game. As I started on the process, it was kinda killing me how much I wish I could look back at my old code. It was gonna take me ages to Google every little thing that I used to know how to do. As a Hail Mary, I decided to search around my computer for any remnants of that old project. I did only lose my main drive, of which I had 3 installed at the time. No luck, could not find anything. Over to my server. I know I have backed up very specific folders on there, though I knew in my heart that my game development folder was not one of them. Still, no harm in looking. Let me show you what I found. Okay, let's take a look over to QNAP Jake. That's my server. Backup. Alright, we have some of my audio projects, where I put everything from Google Drive before I gave it a good purge, free up some space, and what's that? Net back data. Then I remember, I did try to back up my whole hard drive with some tool built into my server over there that was supposed to take the whole drive and just copy it over. When I tried to use it, it hardly seemed to work. I left it for like a day, and it looked like a couple percentage of my hard drive made it. So I assumed it wasn't going to work, called a failure, I'll back it up some other time. Later never came. Well, let's take a look. Jake2, that was the username on the computer, disk C. The way over to documents, this is starting to look okay. This looks like most of what I had. GameMaker Studio 2, and would you look at that? That's all my projects. TDS, or top-down shooters, I was calling it at the time, GML update, because there was a change not too long ago that kind of changed the way GameMaker worked. It's all there. All my old code survived. Alright, so let's start by looking at what that original version of the game looked like and where I left off. TDS GML update, let's give that a play. Had some scrolling text. I do recall it being a little cringy, but I kinda wanted to play around with the scrolling text intro that some older games used to have. And some instructions up at the top. WASD to move, left mouse button to shoot, right mouse button to shoot a grenade, P to pause, and to start the game, enter. Alright, so this was Tank Game. Had some pickups for different kinds of guns, and a couple different kinds of enemies. So I did have 3 levels of this game. The first one just had a couple of basic enemies like we're seeing right now. The second level has all the other kinds of enemies, and the third level was a sort of a kill screen. It spawned enemies faster than you could really possibly deal damage. We'll just play this for a little bit. Showing off the BFG gun now. Any weapon that you pick up is temporary, and you can see the time that it has left over the top of your tank. Right mouse button to shoot a grenade. 3 different enemies kind of had their own behavior. The green ones moved approximately in your direction with a little bit of randomness. The big black ones did pretty much the same thing, except they moved very slowly with quick lurches. And these big ones, the bombers, just kind of move up and down or left and right and drop bombs. It's in the name. I didn't intend to leave the health over top of enemies forever, but this was just sort of a make things a little easier to develop, see how things were working. And that first door is going to open up once I get to 35 kills. So I'll just keep playing around. I'll show what it looks like when you get hit. Little explosion and a nice hit flash. Alright, what else is there to show off besides the other level? I don't think a whole lot, so I'll just keep getting the kills. The coins don't really do anything besides give you points. That's kind of all there is to it, but we'll go to that next level now. Show a little pause screen, enter to keep playing. Slightly different layout on the floor, but the rooms are all functionally the same. Wait for things to start spawning, and we'll see some of the other kinds of enemies. The blue ones move quick and move diagonally, and those pinkish purple ones move in sort of a clover pattern and shoot at you. They are supposed to change directions when they hit the wall, but that might have been where I left off on the game, because they seem to... Oh no, they do sometimes work. More often than not, sort of an air-catching fix I had for them was if they made it through the wall, it would just destroy them. So most of the time when they hit the wall, they just explode. Make quick work of them. But yeah, this is pretty much as far as I got this game. So I don't think there's anything else to show here. I mean, the few different pickups there are. There's health, there's the coins, there's the grenades. And I'll probably call it there. Close out the game, and now we'll take a look at the new project. So the new project is not nearly as developed, but there are a few reasons for that. As opposed to just continuing to work on this project, I got 2 main reasons why I'm not doing that. The first one is most of the code is kind of one-off. It's fine for a single session playthrough with limited levels, but if I try to implement any kind of progression or upgrades, it's going to turn into spaghetti real quick. And the other reason is a lot of the art assets, while I believe they were Creative Commons, I did not keep a great list of who made what. I can't use them without attribution, so a lot of those graphics have to go out the window. Very happy I was able to find the credit for the tank image I used, because I like it a fair bit. So, let's take a look at where I am now on Tank Game. So I'll just give this a play. So one of the main changes is this is in widescreen now, because it's not the early 2000s anymore. And I had replaced the text with intro text rule, so I didn't have to cringe at what was written before. But beyond that, let's hit play. The music was purchased in a Humble Bundle, so I am able to keep using that. The gunshot I couldn't find again, so I'm not really happy with the one that I have right now. It's going to get grating and annoying pretty quickly, but wanted to have something in there. One of the main improvements I made was the grenade explosion. I like that way more. So, I mean, it's not my explosion graphic, but what I did do is I took it and replicated it 4 or 5 times, one going off every couple of frames, and I think it looks pretty cool. I also had to remake the grenade. I don't think it looks fantastic right now, but it's at least a filler until I can do something better or find something better. No enemies yet, no good background. Also, the background tile, I need to either find the credit for that or find a new one, or God forbid make something myself. But here's where we are right now. It's not far, but I've been slowly pulling in aspects from the previous version of the game. Let's get this closed out. Yeah, slowly pulling in aspects from the previous version of the game, and every single thing I pull in seems to come with a couple of errors, being separated from the rest of the project. So I've been touching that up and getting things ready to go on a more scalable level. So I've been just kind of touching up the code, fixing any errors that come up, and that's kind of it. That's where we are on the game right now. I'm not super far, but I did want to do a devlog now and kind of show the progress of how things move along. So hopefully when I'm doing the next one, there'll at least be some enemies, hoping to have some sort of graphics for the walls, for the general background, but we'll see how far I get before it's time for another devlog. Well, thanks for watching, and hope you make it to the next one. Until next time.